So, how the heck did someone like me get cast on a show like Alone, season 3? Well, it started one night when I came home from school. I was a teacher, and my wife said, it was actually the end of the summer. Not true, beginning of the summer. And I came home, and my wife said, I'm going to see the show. And I was like, what show? I don't really watch, too much TV, but it was a survival show. She's like, I think you'll like it. So it was Alone, and I watched it, and I was like, that actually is pretty cool. And after a couple days watching it together, maybe like a couple weeks, the first few episodes, I guess we were behind, she's like, you should try out for that. And how many times you hear that? Like, how many times, maybe it is a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, try to pump up their husband and be like, oh, he'd be great. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous. But at the time, I don't know, I was in my mid-30s, and I used to apply for jobs all over the place, in Australia, New Zealand, just ridiculous jobs like that I would never even have a chance to get. But I always wanted to sort of test my value and was always curious how the world would view me and who I am. And even if I got a job, I didn't have to take it. And usually those crazy things that I would apply for, I wouldn't, hear back from. So anyway, my wife went to bed, and I stayed up one night and I applied. I kind of forget the process, but you had to send a couple videos of things that you did. Now, okay, I work at a public high school, and I started a class years ago called Intro to Survival and Bushcraft. And, I know some stuff, but I'm no expert. I didn't grow up doing it or anything like that. Most of my younger years were spent rock climbing and traveling and doing a lot of camping and backpacking and stuff. And I kind of slowly eased my way into all that. So this was in probably June, late June, early July, and I guess 2016. And then, hey, Gizzy, stop. What are you doing? And then after that, I didn't think much of it, just like I would apply to jobs in China just to see. I didn't even say anything about it. I don't even think I told my wife that I ever applied. And life went on, the summer went on, did my traveling, having fun. School started up in the fall. I'm a high school teacher. Went back to school. First semester ended, it was Christmas break, whatever. And sometime in January, I got an email from some casting director, and her name was Heather Briggs. It's mentioned Alone, and suddenly, obviously it came back. I was like, yeah, I remember that. She's like, oh, they really liked you. They want to talk to you. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the show. Like, what? So then I called, and they were like, well, yeah, you're in like the top, 200. I'm like, oh, well, there's only 10 that make the show. I was like, that's still pretty cool. Now, the crazy part is that my wife and I, probably a few months before I got this initial call from Alone, my wife and I were in the process of adopting 3 kids from foster care, young kids. And so it was like, it seemed odd. Like, we're adopting, and then all of a sudden this opportunity comes up. But it's not an opportunity yet. I'm one of 200. I didn't really think much of it. It's kind of like playing the lottery. Yeah, it's fun to play the lottery, and if you win, it could change your life, but you don't really expect to win. So anyway, I get online or something, like some Zoom or whatever, and talk to a couple of people in like a small interview, and they're like, yeah, they like you or whatever, like want you to go out and film some stuff or, spend a couple nights out in the woods. So I went over to New Jersey, where my dad lives, and he sent me out some kind of cool spot out in the Pine Barrens. And, I spent the night out there, a couple nights, whatever, and just did a bunch of stuff and recorded videos of me, like, I don't know, eating a cricket and like setting up a shelter and just ridiculous stuff. Not that setting up a shelter is ridiculous, but I just did all these things. And I sent that in, and next thing you know, I get a call back a couple weeks later, like, oh, we really liked you. You're in like the top, it's top 100 or something like that. I was like, oh God, that's crazy. Had another like round of interviews, and things are kind of getting weird because like, I just can't tell anybody about this, and it's real secretive kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, I get it. So I'm at work, being a teacher and going there, and my wife and I are going to these meetings, like getting ready to adopt kids. We start like meeting the children that we're actually adopting. They're 3 brothers from foster care. And it was kind of like these two paths were on a collision course. The one path, the adoption, I knew that was going to happen, but the alone thing, I never thought that would happen. So I was just like, this one's going to go away, and then we'll just have this one. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't like just quit on it now. Let's just see. You never know. So next thing you know, I get a call, and they're like, Jim, you made it to boot camp. And I said, thank you. And what is that? So that was like, they took the top 20 people from around the world. Peanut, come here. The top 20 people from around the world that applied, and you go for a week and try out. You have these survival experts come in and test your skills and this and that, and they put you through like psychological evaluations, medical evaluations. And it's the weirdest thing, because you're in this like hotel for a couple days, and then you're out in the woods for a couple days, and you're with all these people that are all kind of like-minded. They're all trying to get on the show, and people are friendly, but they're also like trying to show off in front of all these like producers and directors. And it was a tricky time for me, because I saw these people coming in, and I'm like, yeah, I am not at the level that they're at. But in my head, like, I know I've done a lot of cool things in my life, and I've had a lot of successes, and I definitely had a positive attitude, and I knew I was a likable dude. So I'm like, I'm just going to be myself and just see what happens. So, and it's not like I didn't know anything. I mean, I knew how to start fires and bow drill fires and, flint and steel fires and set up shelters. I knew a whole bunch of knots. I was teaching the class. I mean, pretty much self-taught, but I knew a lot. I knew a lot of stuff. I certainly didn't know as much as a lot of the people that tried out. But a lot of the people that tried out were a little weird. And they were like being forceful and like trying to brag about their knowledge, which a lot of it seemed suspect, to be honest with you. Peanut, come. Sorry, my dog's going in the creek. Get up here. Hey, come. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of the people that were trying out were like, yeah, they're fine, but they claim to have like a ton more experience than me. And at the end of the day, you're thinking of it like, this guy, there's no way this guy's stories are true. And it was kind of a weird thing. I spent most of my time trying out, like we were in this hotel a lot, and anytime we didn't have to be there, come. Anytime we didn't have to be there, I was kind of like in my room, just watching TV. Cause like, I don't know, a lot of the social interactions, I was like, this is kind of, it's like fake and stuff. So I just wasn't into it. So, we go through the whole thing. We had to spend a couple nights out. They made us, do some stuff. We had to process some game. We had to like prove that we could, kill an animal and process it down, eat it, whatever, a rabbit, some fish, stuff like that. I went through it. It was fine. I left after the week having no clue, thinking that I have a chance to make it, but just didn't know. And then a week later, I'm at school, and I got a missed call. I knew they were going to let me know that Friday. So I was like staring at my phone all day, even though I was in school. And I remember I got that call, and they said, hey, Jim, congratulations. You made it as one of the top 10 on season 3 and Alone Patagonia. And like a wave of like something just like took over my body, and I didn't even know. I mean, I think I yelled. I was walking outside to my outdoor classroom, and it was like so much joy and elation just getting that feeling. So how did I make it? Like, how did I make that cut? I think a lot of it is just being genuine, like just being yourself, no matter who you are. Like if they like you and they're calling you and they're bringing you in, just be yourself, because they've seen you in some capacity and they like who you are, or how you may be able to appear on camera, how you might appear on TV. I think a lot of people try to kind of like be the same person or almost mimic someone that they've seen on the show. I don't know. I'm not a producer. I don't know exactly what they like, but I think they like diversity. I think they like people that are interesting, that are, friendly, kind. Just be yourself. There were definitely people on the show that had a huge ego. Not on the show. people that were trying out for the show that didn't make it. And I even liked a lot of them, but I could tell like they're not looking for that. So be humble, just like you probably should be in your life anyway. Be yourself, and just go for things. I don't know. I still go for things, and I don't get most of them, but like Michael Scott once said, I think it was Michael Scott, he said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And he quoted that from Wayne Gretzky, but I still, it doesn't matter. Just take shots, just go for stuff. Anyone who's watching this that watched my season will be like, wait a minute, weren't you the guy that tapped out first? Yeah, that was me. So that's another video. But this video is about how to make it. How do you make it? Because I know you're watching this and you're better than I am and you'll last longer and all that. I get it. You will. You'll do fine. But you got to get there first. So that's how I did it. I'm sure there's other ways and other opinions, but I know there's a lot of people, because I get messages quite often. How do you get on the show? What did you do? How did you make it? So this is for you. The people out there that want to be on the show is, obviously you wouldn't be applying if you didn't have some background knowledge, you didn't have some skills, but that's not really all they're looking for. They want to make sure you'd be fine, but they're looking for a personality. They're looking for someone who's genuine. So just be yourself, go for it, be humble, and, be grateful for all the opportunities that you get. So I hope that helps you. If you ever have any questions, send me a comment. I'll be happy to, talk with you, help you out, but, you'll do fine. Just go for it. And if this opportunity doesn't work out, go for another one.